The Great Bible, the fourth book of the Kings, after the Latinists, which book, and the third together, is but one with the Hebrews. The first chapter. The captains over 50, with their soldiers, are burnt with fire from heaven by the prayer of Eliah. Ahaziah is reproved of Eliah, and dieth, and Jehoram his brother succeedeth him. The first chapter. And Moab did wickedly against Israel after the death of Ahab, and Ahaziah fell through a grate of his upper chamber that he had in Samaria. And while he was in his sickness, he sent messengers, and said unto them, Go and inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this my disease. But the angel of the Lord spake to Eliah the Tishbite, Arise, and go up against the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is there not a God in Israel, that ye go to ask counsel at Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Wherefore, thus saith the Lord, Thou shalt not come down from the bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt die the death. And Eliah departed. And when the messengers turned back again unto him, he said unto them, Why are ye now come again? They answered him, There came a man up against us, and said unto us, Go and turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Is there not a God in Israel, that thou sendest to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore thou shalt not come down from the bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt die the death. And he said unto them, What manner a man was that which came up in your way, and told you these words? And they answered him, It was an hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Eliah the Tishbite. Then the king sent unto him a captain over 50, with his 50 men, which came to him. And behold, he sat on the top of an hill. And he spake unto him, Thou man of God, the king hath said, Come down. Eliah answered and said to the captain over the 50, If I be a man of God, fire come down from heaven, and consume thee and thy 50. And there came fire of God, and consumed him and his 50. And the king went again, and sent to him another captain over 50 with his 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of God, thus hath the king said, Make haste and come down. Eliah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of God, fire come down from heaven, and consume thee and thy 50. And there came fire of God down from heaven, and consumed him and his 50. And the king went again, and sent the third captain over 50 with his 50 men. And the third captain over 50 went up, and came and fell on his knees before Eliah, and besought him, and said unto him, O man of God, let my life and the life of these 50 thy servants be precious in thy sight. Behold, there came fire down from heaven, and burnt up the 4 captains over 50 with their 50s. Therefore let my life now be precious in thy sight. And the angel of the Lord said unto Eliah, Go down with him, and be not afraid of him. And he arose, and went down with him unto the king. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Forasmuch as thou hast sent messengers to ask counsel at Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, as though there had been no God in Israel, whose word thou mightest seek after, therefore thou shalt not come down off the bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt die the death. And so he died according to the word of the Lord, which Eliah had spoken. And Jehoram his brother began to reign in his stead, in the 2nd year of Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son. The rest of the words that concern Ahaziah, what things he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? The 2nd chapter. Eliah divided the waters with his mantle. He is taken up into heaven. The bitter and venomous waters are healed. The children that mock Eliseus, otherwise called Elisa, are rent in pieces. The 2nd chapter. And it chanced that when the Lord would take up Eliah into heaven by a whirlwind, Eliah went with Elisa from Gilgal. And Eliah said unto Elisa, Tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord hath sent me to Bethel. Elisa said unto him, As surely as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And they came down to Bethel. And the children of the prophets that were at Bethel came out to Elisa, and said unto him, Knowest thou not how that the Lord will take away thy master from thy head this day? He said, I know it also. Hold ye your peace. And Eliah said unto him, Elisa, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord hath sent me to Jericho. He said, As surely as the Lord liveth, and as surely as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And so they came to Jericho. And the children of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisa, and said unto him, Knowest thou not that the Lord will take away thy master from thy head this day? He answered, I know it also. Hold ye your peace. And Eliah said unto him, Tarry, I pray thee here, for the Lord hath sent me to Jordan. He said, As surely as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And so they two went together. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets came and stood on the other side afar off, and they two stood by Jordan. And Eliah took his mantle and wrapped it together, and smote the waters, and they were divided, part the one way and part the other, so that they too went over through dry land. And it fortuned that as soon as they were over, Eliah said unto Elisa, Ask what I shall do for thee, ere I be taken away from thee. And Elisa said, I pray thee, let thy spirit be double upon me. And he said, Thou hast asked an hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken away from thee, thou shalt have it so. If thou do not, it shall not be. And it fortuned that as they went walking and talking, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Eliah went up through the whirlwind into heaven. And Elisa saw and cried, O my father, O my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took his own clothes, and rent them in 2 pieces. He took up also the mantle of Eliah that fell from him, and went back again, and stood by Jordan's side, and took the mantle of Eliah that fell from him, and smote the waters, and they parted not asunder. And he said, Where is the Lord God of Eliah, and he himself? And when he had smitten the waters, they parted this way and that way, and Elisa went over. And when the children of the prophets which were at Jericho saw him from afar, they said, The spirit of Eliah doth rest on Elisa. And they came to meet him, and fell to the ground before him, and said unto him, See, there be with thy servants 50 strong men. Let them go, and seek thy master. Haply the Spirit of the Lord hath taken him up, and cast him upon some mountain, or into some valley. And he said, Ye shall send none. And when they lay upon him till he was ashamed, he said, Send. They sent therefore 50 men, which sought him 3 days and 3 nights, but found him not. And when they came again to him, which tarried at Jericho, he said unto them, Did I not say unto you, that ye should not go? And the men of the city said unto Elisha, Behold, sir, the dwelling of this city is pleasant as thou thyself seest, but the water is not, and the ground barren. He said, Bring me a new cruse, and put salt therein. And they brought it to him. And he went unto the spring of the waters, and cast the salt in thither, and said, Thus saith the Lord, I have healed this water. There shall not come henceforth either death or bareness. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Eliseus, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up the way, there came little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head! Go up, thou bald head! And he turned back, and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came two she-bears out of that wood, and tare 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he turned again to Samaria. The 3rd chapter. The kings of Israel, Judah, and Edom lack water, which they obtain through the prayer of Eliseus. The king of Moab fighteth against Israel. The 3rd chapter. Jehoram the son of Ahab began to reign upon Israel in Samaria the 18th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and reigned 12 years. And he wrought evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like his father and like his mother, for he put away the images of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin, and departed not therefrom. And Mesa king of Moab was a lord of sheep, and rendered unto the king of Israel 100,000 lambs, and 100,000 rams with the wool. But when Ahab was dead, it fortuned that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. And King Jehoram went out of Samaria the same season, and numbered all Israel, and went, and sent to Jehoshaphat the king of Judah, saying, The king of Moab hath offended against me. Wilt thou come with me against Moab to battle? He answered, I will come up, for as I am, so art thou. And as my people be, so are thy people, and thy horses as mine. And he said, What way shall we go up? And he answered, The way through the wilderness of Edom. And so the king of Israel took his journey, and the king of Judah, and the king of Edom. And when they had compassed the way 7 days, they had no water for the host, and for the cattle that followed them. And the king of Israel said, Alas, the Lord hath called these 3 kings together, to deliver them over into the hand of Moab. But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him? And one of the king of Israel's servants answered, and said, Here is Elisha the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Eliah. And Jehoshaphat said, Is not the word of the Lord with him? And so the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. And Elisha said unto the king of Israel, What have I to do with thee? Get thee to the prophets of thy father, and to the prophets of thy mother. And the king of Israel said unto him, O nay, for the Lord hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. And Elisha said, As sure as the Lord of hosts liveth, in whose sight I stand, and it were not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat the king of Judah, I would not look toward thee, nor yet see thee. But now bring me a minstrel. And when the minstrel played, the hand of the Lord came upon him. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, Make this plain ground full of ditches. For thus saith the Lord, Ye shall see neither wind nor rain, and yet the brook shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye and your beasts and your cattle. And this is yet but a small thing in the sight of the Lord, forasmuch as he will give over the Moabites also into your hands. And ye shall smite every strong town, and every goodly city, and shall fell every pleasant tree, and stop every well of water, and mar every good plat of ground with stones. And in the morning, when the meat offering was offered, it fortuned that there came water by the way from Edom, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all together, from the youngest that was able to put on harness, and so upward, and stood in the border of the land. And they were up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water, that the Moabites saw the water afar off, as red as blood. And they said, This is the blood of slaughter. The kings are slain, and one hath smitten another. Now therefore, Moab, get thee to the spoil. And when they came to the host of Israel, the Israelites stood up and smote the Moabites, so that they fled before them. But they followed upon them, and smote Moab. And they overthrew the cities, and on every good parcel of land cast every man his stone, and filled it, and they stopped all the wells of waters, and felled all the good trees. Only in the city of brick left they the stones thereof. Howbeit they went about it with slings, and smote it. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was sore against him, he took with him 700 men that drew the sword to have gone through, even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. And then he took his eldest son, that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him, and returned to their own land. The 4th chapter. God giveth a certain poor woman oil and flour, by Eliseus. Eliseus, whom the text calleth Elisha, obtaineth of God a child for his hostess, which died and is after raised to life. He maketh sweet the pottage, and multiplieth the loaves. The 4th chapter. And there cried a certain woman of the wives of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant my husband is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And the creditor is come to fetch my 2 sons to be his bondmen. Elisha said unto her, Tell me, what shall I do for thee? What hast thou in thine house? She said, thine handmaid hath nothing at all in the house, save a pitcher with oil. He said unto her, Go and borrow vessels for thee, of them that are without, even of all thy neighbors, empty vessels, and that not a few. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door after thee, and after thy sons, and pour out into all those vessels, and set aside that which is full. And so the woman went from him, and shut the door after her, and after her sons. And they brought to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, that when the vessels were full, she said unto her son, Bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, I have no more. And the oil ceased. Then she came, and told the man of God. And he said, Go and sell the oil, and pay them that thou art in debt unto, but live thou, and thy children of the rest. And it fell on a day that Elisha came to Sunem, where was a great woman, that took him in, for to eat bread. And so it came to pass, that from that time forth, as oft as he came that way, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold, I perceive that this is a holy man of God, that cometh so oft by our place. Let us make him a chamber, I pray thee, with walls, and let us set him there a bed, and a table, a stool, and a candlestick, that he may turn in thither when he cometh to us. And it fortuned on a day that he came thither, and turned into the chamber, and lay therein, and said to Gehazi his servant, Call this Shunammite. And when he called her, she presented herself before him. And again he said unto him, Tell her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us, and hast made all this provision. What shall we now do for thee? Wouldest thou be spoken for to the king, or to the captain of the host? She answered, I dwell among mine own people. And he said again, What is to be done for her? Gehazi answered, Verily she hath no child, and her husband is old. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, By such a time, and as soon as the fruit can live, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, O nay, my lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thine handmaid. And the wife conceived, and bare a son that same season that Eliseus had said unto her, as soon as the fruit could have life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father, and to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. And he said to a lad, Carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him, and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died. And she went up, and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door about him, and went out, and called unto her husband, and said, Send with me, I pray thee, one of the young men, and one of the asses, for I will run to the man of God, and come again. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him, seeing that today is neither new moon nor Sabbath day? She answered, For health. Then she saddled an ass, and said to her servant, Lead away the ass, and make her not to go slowly, because I ride upon her, but when I bid thee. And so she went, and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it fortuned that when the man of God saw her far off, he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is the Shunammite. Run therefore to meet her, and say unto her, Is all well with thee, and with thy husband, and with the lad? And she answered, All is well. And when she came to the man of God up to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi went to her, to thrust her away. And the man of God said, Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her, and the Lord hath hid it from me, and hath not told it me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not require thee, that thou shouldest not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not, and if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, As sure as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. Gehazi went before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor any feeling. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, The child is not awaked. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door to the lad and him, and prayed unto the Lord. And went up, and lay upon the lad, and put his mouth on his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And when he so lay upon the child, the flesh of the child waxed warm. And he went again, and walked once up and down in the house, and then went up, and laid himself up upon him again. And then the child gasped 7 times, and opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi, and said, Call for this Shunammite. So he called her, which when she was come in unto him, he said unto her, Take thy son. Therefore she went in, and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the children of the prophets dwelt with him. And he said unto his servant, Set a great pot on the fire, and make pottage for the children of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found as it were a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild coloquintitas, his lap full, and came, and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew it not. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it fortuned that when they tasted of the pottage, they cried out, and said, O thou man of God, there is death in the pot. And they could not eat thereof. But he said, Bring meal. And he cast it into the pot, and said, Fill for the people, that they may eat. And there was no more harm in the pot. There came a man from Baal, Salisa, and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits, even 20 loaves of barley, and new corn, which was yet in his bags. And he said, Give unto the people, that they may eat. And his minister answered, Why, shall I set this before 100 men? He said again, Give it unto the people, that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, They shall eat, and there shall be left over. And so he set it before them, and they did eat, and left over, according to the word of the Lord.